track. I must be doing things right now. Then the bottom falls out. And then, okay, and then years go by and he's back at the top, and then all of a sudden the bottom drops out. And, I can imagine, as a young man, when Potiphar's wife was doing her shenanigans, the thoughts of Joseph was, if I do what's right, then everything's going to work out just fine. How many of us have said that? I'm going to do what's right, and then everything's going to work out just fine. You know what? Sometimes we do everything that pleases God, and it doesn't work out just fine. Okay? But my word to you is, that's okay. God is still with you in the middle of that. And he's there holding you, he's there caring for you, but he's also there watching you grow in your character and grow through this process. And so we have to get our perspective, our eyes back on God in the midst of the storm instead of the storm. We're always looking at the storm. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. I think if we spent all that energy of, asking what's going to happen, and how many of us imagine what's going to happen? Okay? We imagine it. We paint the picture of what's going to happen. And, but the reality is we have to trust God. God, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why we're going through this. I don't understand it. I'm giving you all that I know to give you. I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my life. And I don't understand this. But I will trust in you. I will trust in you. And I will believe that there are those in my life who will have grown because of my testimony in the storm. Somebody else. Who else wants to share? Deidre?
Sometimes, I look at why things turned out the way they did, and, I look at my brother, and we were raised similar, and his life has been so different from my life. But then I thank God, too, because I got it young. I was 24 when I got saved, and I look at people in my family that they were 50 and they finally stopped drinking, or some of them still haven't stopped drinking. And, no, they weren't as extreme as me, but they had a lot of bad things, too. And I'm just so glad that, it happened the way it did in a sense, And I see God's hand upon it because I'm not from New Orleans. Like, I have no connection to New Orleans, and God, forced me down here even before I knew him, and I can see why, because of the work that I've been, blessed to do. I don't know, it's funny because people always think, well, when I get to heaven, I'm going to ask him this, and I'm like, when I get to heaven, I'm not even going to be able to think. I'm just going to be like, wow.
All right, it says here in Genesis 39, verses 1 through 2. I'm just going to, I'm going to read the with me portion of this page. It said, I'm on page 73. It said, God doesn't always grant us such dramatic answers to prayer. Of course, he doesn't always grant such powerful proof that he's present and working in our lives in the midst of plan B. Most of the time, the signs are more subtle. And sometimes, to be honest, we find it really hard to believe that God is with us, especially when we're living in plan B. But let me show you something interesting in the story of Joseph. And this is in Genesis 39, 1 and 2. It might be a bit confusing at first, but bear with me. That's what the writer says. It says, now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, brought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. So what did it say there? Underline, the Lord was with Joseph, and he prospered. Yeah. Did you catch it? The Lord was with Joseph. Isn't that interesting, or is it confusing and surprising? The Lord was with Joseph. The whole story could really mess with your theology if you let it. I mean, doesn't Joseph just get beaten up by his own brothers? Didn't he just get captured, taken to a foreign land, Wasn't he a slave? Growing up, I always assumed that the Lord is with you meant that things were going great. Boy, that's a mouthful, okay? Because we think, if I do everything right, everything's going to go okay. And then we look at other people and we think, how many of you done this? Lord, I know they're not serving you the way I'm serving you. And look what you're doing for them. What's up with that? Do y'all ever do that? No? Y'all don't do that? I do that. Okay? I do it. I'm going, Lord, I know they're cheating on their taxes. I know they're not giving to you the way they should. I know that they talk behind your back, God. And here you are blessing their socks off. Me too. I say that to you as the lesson said last week. Me too. I've said the same thing about other people. I've measured them by the way I thought God should treat them. The reality is, no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you are walking in, sometimes we walk on the fields of green grass, and other times we walk through the pig's manure. But what do? We keep walking, and we know that God is with us. What does he say? There's only one time in Scripture that is ever used a triple negative. And it's that Scripture that says, I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's a triple negative. So what it says in the original language is, I will never, absolutely never, never leave you. So we have to understand that things don't always go great when God is with you. We think that, well, if God's with me, I should be in first class. If God's with me, I should be, what? Healed. Great. God is with me, I should be, have a job. If God is with me,
I should have my family.
I should have my